Hello everyone. I'm getting ready to install a surround sound feedback system into my Legends pinball machine. I thought somebody might be interested in the components I used and how I put it together. So I'll hit the highlights with this video. I'll explain what I purchased here to make this all work. First we'll go, I guess, wire. I'm using 18 gauge wire. I have 6 different colors here because I have other projects that I'm going to be using. You don't need nowhere near this much. You really just need 100 foot of black and 100 foot of red. That's all you're going to need. An external 7.1 channel sound card connects USB, and then it's going to output the 6 channels that I need for this here. Your exciters. Let's see that. I'm using the Dayton Audio DAEX 58 FPs. Most of the people in the pinball cabinet world are using these, very highly rated. So I thought I'd grab these. Need 4 of those. You need a power supply. This is just a 12 volt, 250 watt power supply to power the 3 amps that you're going to need. A standard computer cord, just make sure it has a ground. This is going to power the power supply. I have to cut the end off here and then wire it in. It doesn't come with a power cord. I'm using 3. You really only need 2 amps. I'm using the Leppy LP 838s. They're 2.1 channel. So they're technically 2 channel, and then it has a crossover that does the bass for the 0.1 channel. And then you need a cord to connect your 7.1 adapter to your amps in the back right there, the red and white. See that? There we go. Also, you need some of these 12 volt barrel connectors. The amps also do not come with power supplies, so you can use your wire that I already have there, wire it in, and it just plugs in. And then to mount the exciters to the inner wall of the Legends pinball, you have to get some screws. I'm using these. You can see that. I was going to focus. They're self-tapping. They're 7/16 inch long. The inner wall, or the exterior walls, are 1/2 inch thick. So between the length of the screw, the thickness of the exciter, plus an extra washer that I bought, it's going to put it in probably 5/16 into the wall. See that? So it won't protrude through and mess up your art on the outside. I think that covers it for everything we're going to need for parts wise. I'll cut back as I do things. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is wire up the exciters. You're going to need 4 40-inch length wires for the back exciters. You're going to need two red and 2 black, 40 inches long, and then strip off about a 1/2 to 1/4 inch off each end. Then for the front ones, you're going to need 64-inch length. Again, you'll need 2 red and 2 black. And then what we're going to do is solder the positive on the big terminal there and the negative to the small terminal. And I'll come back when I'm done. I don't want to blow your minds with my mad soldering skills. All right, as you can see, I finished soldering. This is the only thing you're going to need to solder in this project here. Red and black wires. All right, leave those for now. Next, we're going to move on to the wiring up the power adapter, power plug, for the amps. So I'll need to do 3 of those, and then wire them to the power supply, and then wire the power supply to the plug. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so next I had to adapt this power cable to work with this power supply. So what I did was I cut the female end off, peeled it back about 2 inches, the casing there, and then stripped off 1/4 inch each one of the wires. We're going to screw those in there in just a minute. And I also made the power wires for the 3 amps that are going to be coming off the power supply also. I cut 3 red and 3 black. They're all 18 inches and they're stripped about 1/4 inch at the ends, both sides. And give me a minute, I'll show you how to wire this up. All right, so here's the back of the power supply. Try to get the glare off there. I don't know if you can see that, but it says L, which is live, N, which is neutral. These correspond to the screws below. That symbol, that's a ground symbol, so it's going to be your ground. And then -V, there's 3 of those, which is going to be your negatives going to whatever you're going to power, which in this case is going to be the amps. And then it says +V, which V is going to be volts. There's 3 of those, and that's going to be your positives wires going to your amps. So I'll screw these up and show you then. And then on the barrel nut, or barrel plug, probably not going to be able to see that, but it's a little circle right there. It says plus and then minus. So it's going to be your positive, and that's going to be your negative. And you just unscrew those, stick the wire in, screw them back in. And that's going to be the other side of the wire. Be right back. Okay, I wanted to do a little test to see if this was exactly at 12 volts. It was at 12.13, I believe it was. Not all these are calibrated perfectly when you get them. So I have my multimeter set up here. If you can see, that's a little screw right there. You can turn that and adjust the voltage. So if it's not at 12, you can turn that to make it 12. Just want to show you all that real quick. All right, I've got 2 of these done now. See, you screw them in positive and negative right there. I'll do the last one for you right here. Slide it into the positive hole there. There it goes. Got my negative wire. Slide it in, the negative. Tighten her down. And then 1 of these. 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 All right, there we go. Last one done. And these are going to power the amps, like that. All I have you here, back at the power supply. So your black is going to be your live wire, your white is going to be the neutral for N, and then green is always ground there. And then my three reds are going to go on this end where all the pluses are, and the three blacks are going to go where all the negative V's are. So I'll screw that together and be right back. All right, I'm done wiring up the power supply. Have my three blacks and three reds on this side, going down to my three 12-volt connectors. Now you don't have to do this with a power supply. You can actually just purchase a power cord, a 12-volt 3-amp power cord, because that's what these would require. But then you'd have to plug 3 plugs into an outlet. So this way you could just use one plug for powering all 3 of those. You can also, if you had more things to power, you don't necessarily have to wire these all here. You can wire one black to a ground block, and then one red to a power block, and then off of those you could power many devices as long as it didn't exceed the power of your power supply. All right, next I'm going to mount the exciters inside the cabinet. You're going to want the front 2 as close as possible to your buttons so you can feel them the best, and the bottom part of the play field. So it's going to be on inside the cabinet on either side, and then towards the top of the play field on the inside of the cabinet on each side. So it's going to be tight in there, so I'm going to mount them and then I'll show you where I mounted them. And they're just simple little screws. I'm just going to go in, screw them to the side. Side note, if you don't know how to take off the front of the Legends, it's just, for the lockdown bar, it's just 3 screws, one there, one there, one there. And then you have to take both side rails off. There's 5 screws along the side, real easy. Pops right off, and then this just lifts right up. And that'll give me access to where I need to go. Also, for reference, I wanted to show you, these are the exciters on each side that come with the Legends. This is the one I'm putting in, so it's substantially larger. Okay, so I had to pick up and rotate the play field due to the plunger box right here. It's mounted on another box that surrounds the power switch, and there's no way to get in there where I need to go. So I'm going to mount it right here, but the play field was all the way down to here, actually right there. It's just four screws, one in each corner of the play field, and it just lifts right out. Lift it up, rotate it, it's out of the way. All right, I got the 4 exciters mounted. There's your back glass. Here's the back left. Pan over, back right. filled up. And we have the front left and the front right. We'll be wiring these up in just a second. Okay, here's how we wire up the amps. These are my rear exciters. If you're playing the cabinet, it's the back right goes into the right, and the back left goes into the left right there. And then the two RCA jacks, the red and white right there, they'll be plugged into the sound card, and then the power is going to go right there. And then you wire up a second one for the front two exciters exactly the same way. All right, I got the power supply in there and both amps and plugged in to the power supply. These are not their final resting places. After I do some testing, I'll figure out exactly where I want them in there, but right now they're all in and ready for the sound card to be hooked up. Okay, I got all the software set up and functioning. A couple little issues that I ran into. One was the USB 7.1 adapter would not function in full surround sound unless it was plugged into a 3.0 USB slot. I had it originally plugged in at 2.0 and it would only give me the stereo main speakers. So there's that. Second, I downloaded the drivers from the manufacturer's website. After you install them, you have nothing. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't give you a program, doesn't say anything. I come to find out that it's down here in the system tray. If you click on this little chevron down here, it's this little icon right there. Double click that, the program actually comes up. So first, you just need to click on the speaker icon down here at the bottom, or right click it, I'm sorry. Open your sound settings and pick your speaker, your output device, which for me it wasn't this digital output, it was the speakers for USB multi-channel audio device. I had originally tried this and couldn't get it working. Found out it was this one. So select that. That's all you need to do in Windows. I thought you had to do a lot more, but you actually don't. And you run this or pull this program up and just make sure it says 8-channel in the system input. And then down here for analog out, 7.1 speakers. That's all you need. And you can test your speakers out in this little window here.
Left front, right front. Left back surround, left back surround, left surround. Right surround.
So that's all you got to do for the software side of the sound card. Now you do have to have, to make SSF work, DOF installed and DOFLinx installed. That's a whole nother ball game. There's way better videos than I can ever make from Terry Red or Major Frenchy that go over that. It's not difficult, it's just files you have to download and places you have to put them and how to initiate them. And you may need pup packs to make them work. In future pinball, you need the pup packs and only certain tables have them. So Not very many tables have SSF and Future Pinball. If you want to get it working in FX3, there's a whole video about that. It's some work to get that working. But in visual, Pinball X, almost every table just flat out works without any pup packs. They do have pup packs that make it even better, different sounds and stuff like that for the balls rolling and bumpers and what have you. All right. If you add a subwoofer and you want to mix some of the sounds from the exciters into that subwoofer to get more of a punch, then you're going to need 3 different programs installed. The first one is equalizer APO right there, and then this piece, basically GUI extension to that right here, and then thumper up here, thumper SSF. They all work together. There's lots of videos on how to install each of these and how to do the settings and everything. Okay, I'm back. It's been about a month since I started this project. I decided to do some additional modifications beyond what I originally was thinking about. What I did was I added a bass shaker. It's also connected to the same amp as the left front exciter and the right front exciter. I added a 6-inch subwoofer that's connected to the backglass amplifier. And then I added another bass shaker that's connected to the left exciter and right exciter amplifier. I also added in a power strip that I modded to run another cable to a new switch. Yeah, that turns everything on. So backglass, cabinet itself, all 3 amps, and the subwoofer. The other subwoofer, I'll show you that in a minute. So underneath, we have the backglass amp, master volume control right here, subwoofer, volume control, and that would be the subwoofer right there. This amp is for the front, right and left exciters and bass shaker up front. Then that amp is for the rear, left and right exciters and bass shaker. I wanted to expose these so I'd have easy access to the controls, because you have to fine tune them every once in a while. And then there's my new master power switch. And then there's the other sub that is now connected to the 7.1 card in the center channel / subwoofer slot. I'll show you that up there. Which would be that one right there. I also took out the motherboard card that was in here and relocated it in the back bottom. I'll show you in a second. So I don't have any more wires sticking up here. Here is the USB HDMI card that was in the front. I have it just screwed in right there, right over here on this inside. All power is now routed, or actually all cables are routed through that hole back there, right here. And only one cord comes out for the power right here. I also spliced into the speakers in the back box. I didn't want to ruin anything, so I can actually return this to stock working condition within minutes. There's a connector that connects the light wire and the two speakers with the board down here. If you disconnect that connector, you can just stick in some pins. I'll show you the pins I used in a second here. Right here and here. I got it taped up now because I don't want them sliding out, but these little pins like that, you just stick them in. That's making the light work, but it's the same thing for the speakers, which is right there. Just poke them in and they're connected, and I could just take them out, reconnect the original connector, and I'm back to stock. All right, I got it all back together. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay with everything turned on.
Dr. Samuel Hayden.
Those beaches will be open for this weekend.
You'll one.
Come on, James, as if no Boy Scout picnic. Out of the way now! Want to stay alive and Andy up?
He's up going to boil it all,
Some bad hat. Shall we play again? You are useless. Game over. I'm not talking about games here. I'm talking about working for a living. I'm talking about shark.
You are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you on the ass.
All right. demonstration. Okay, my thoughts on this build. The surround sound feedback is an absolute game changer. The way you can feel the ball rolling in the different areas, the bumpers where they're supposed to be, the slingshots where they're supposed to be, feel the flippers, is amazing. I thought it was just amazing, and then when I added the bass shakers, which was about a week later, it just really up the game here. It's incredible. Also the subwoofer, the big subwoofer down there at the bottom, it's 10-inch. Kind of overkill. I got it turned down a little bit, or a lot actually, but it is awesome. It's awesome. I wouldn't take it out. If you got an extra one laying around, highly suggest it. The smaller subwoofer that I put in there, it's good. It's the only downside to that is these amps aren't the best for the crossover, so it mixes a lot of highs in there. So I'm thinking about getting at least a different amp for the back box speakers and that one speaker, one little cell that's up under there. Otherwise, I'm extremely happy with this build.